Welcome to the Infernal Brotherhood of the Scruffy Looking Nerf Herders. This is a live YouTube streaming video podcast by Star Wars fans for Star Wars fans. Today, we're going to be discussing our spoiler-filled review of The Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 1 through 8.
Yeah.
And here it is.
Oh, I can smell it. I can taste it. That's real.
Why'd they gotta do this to us again, man? Why'd they gotta do it?
The thing is like, it's been a while, but I seem to recall enjoying the first season.
No.
Or at least episodes, right?
There was a couple episodes that were okay. And I'm not going to say good, but they were okay.
Yeah.
This one, so far, there's been 2 fucking episodes that were decent.
Yep.
And it's hard because I want to say that they're good, but they're almost... Their goodness is eclipsed by how bad everything else was.
Well, it's also like everything's relative, right? So if we just take those good episodes out of the context of all the rest of the season and just watch them on their own,
That's great.
I don't know. Are they? Like, that's my question, is like, I can't decide whether or not it's good or not, because everything around it's so bad, anything in comparison is good. But on its own, is it still good? Or is it just like, I mean, it's a cartoon.
You got a point.
I can't rationalize. The thing is like there's concepts that I read into this, which make those 2 episodes for me, assuming they're the same 2 episodes, mean something infinitely more than presented on the screen. But absence my adding in like thought and care, I don't know that this is worth watching like at all.
Yeah. So truth be told, I checked out after episode 4. I was done with it. I was like, maybe Adam's going to forget we can just brush this under the rug. The first 2 episodes sucked, but it's like, okay, it's the beginning of the season. It's going to get better. Then episode 3 was okay.
Yeah.
Like, it was something that should have been in the first season. Mm-hmm. Basically, because most of the first season was fucking filler anyways until like the last like 3 episodes. Yeah. First episode was standing, like that was really good. It's just like, why are we just now getting to this? And then immediately after that, it's just a fucking stupid race show.
The thing is,
it's just so frustrating.
It really does remind me of Star Wars Resistance, where it's just like nonsense piled upon nonsense. I mean, the whole character that they're I can't even remember her name. That's how frustrated I get.
Omega.
Not Omega, but the girl, like the weird lizard, the Trandoshan woman who runs the bar.
Yeah, I don't remember her.
Fuck me, I can't remember her name. But she is not really even in it. And then Wanda Sykes shows up, and you're just like...
she's terrible.
That's just Wanda Sykes.
Yeah, like... That is like, oh, who can we get that's edgy and fun?
Right.
And it's like, oh, let's get somebody that's clearly never done any sort of voice acting before.
Yeah, who hit her acting peak more than a decade ago.
Yeah.
Why not get her to do it? Because she'll reach out to the young crowds of today.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so crazy. So the first 2 episodes are really just about them like stealing a massive war chest and then getting off planet. Mm-hmm. And it was just not even worth watching.
Yeah.
So painful. And then the third one was about Commander Cody. Wait, what? Crosshair is assigned to a Commander Cody mission, but their back and forth was really about, well, what the hell's the future of us clones? Like, what are we doing here? And why are we still supporting the Empire when the Empire's no longer in the war against the Separatists, which is why we were created in the first fucking place?
Yeah.
And so it felt like this almost this post-Vietnam War... So this is how I interpret it, why I liked it so much. How do you come to terms with... Your government wanted you to go and kill babies. You did what you were supposed to do because you're a soldier and that's what soldiers do. Mm-hmm. The rest of the country was begging for the war to end. Finally, the war ends. You're allowed to come back home. And everyone, the government and the people that were begging for the war to come to end, ignore you. They ignore the pain and the suffering that you went through, the catastrophes that caused you PTSD the rest of your life, the Agent Orange medical issues that not only affected you, but your immediate generational offspring. And it's just all swept under the rug. No one really cares. Everyone just sort of moves on. Horror films do a great job, and war films do a great job of pointing a spotlight at the travesty that these men and women went through.
Mm-hmm.
But no one, like the rest of the world, just sort of turned their back on them at best and outright assaulted them at worst when they came home.
Yep.
And so that's kind of the vibe I was getting from this second episode, was like, oh shit, how do you reassimilate in a world that never even wanted you in the first place?
Yeah.
As a clone, you know, I thought that was brilliant. And then they just fucked it off and went to a new episode.
Right? God damn it. I know, and it's so frustrating because, and we'll get to it, of course, but like in later episode where they really hit home at that point again, it's like, why can't this season be about that?
Yeah.
Like, it's a transitional period. It is immediately after Order 66. There's clones that are dead. There's clones that are still around and trying to assimilate into the new government.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's clones that are in limbo trying to figure out what the fuck to do with their lives.
Yeah.
Like, that is interesting. That's a fucking story arc that we should follow because it's relevant to real life,
Mm-hmm.
which is always the best science fiction. And it's where all of this shit has been leading up to. And can I just start by saying I fucking hated what they did with their costumes. Like, if you are trying to be low key, like, you know, we're clones, but we're not those clones. Why the fuck would you just paint them in bright random colors, like drawing attention to yourself? You guys are being sought by the galactic government. Like, galactic. That's everything. You're being sought after by them with just kill orders, like not even catch them, just fucking off them. So why paint a target on your back?
It's so dumb. They're just like, oh, well, it's a different color, so we're clearly different people.
Yeah. Yeah, even though it's all exactly the same armor.
Everything else is the exact same. It's just a paint job.
So stupid.
So
I mean, Omega's hair's longer or something.
Oh,
I think that's
fuck
different.
that
So there's that.
Oh my gosh. I had such high hopes of that character being something significant.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it seemed like they alluded to her being someone important.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just shit the bed on it. And they're just like, fuck it. She's just a part of the team. And, you know, we're going to try to do the Mandalorian thing without any of the heart and, you know, character development. So just let it be.
Let's just have a kid so that kids can relate.
Yeah. So dumb. Hey, Pika fan, thanks for joining live, man. So then the next one was called Faster, which was just episode 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was episode 1, but significantly less interesting.
Yeah, it was like...
And where we ended up losing Sid for the season. Well, at least for the subsequent episodes.
Yeah. I don't even care.
Yeah, no, she's stupid as shit, too.
Fuck Sid. Like, her popcorn was the best part of her.
Yeah.
Everything else sucks.
Yeah.
And this episode really hit home. Like, they really don't have a story to tell.
Yeah.
Like, they're just flying by the seat of their pants, needing to make X number of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are you bothering?
That is exactly what I'm getting from all of this. Is there's nothing, like, at all.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, let's put the characters in this wacky adventure. Like, and the thing is, I'm not opposed to serial television shows. Like, that's fine. But you are making a Clone Wars television show. You set that up from the first episode of the first season. And the Clone Wars is one of the greatest, like, cartoon, like, put out as far as the story arc's concerned.
Yeah.
Like, it is so complex and detailed that even watching the full series, like, 3 or 4 times start to finish, you are still not picking up everything. Like, where's that? Like, like you were saying earlier, this is very similar to Resistance, but I feel like at least with Resistance, you knew it was just going to be dumb as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they set that up from the get-go. There was no story to continue through the episodes. There was a minor story arc because it was supposed to be like a transitional period between The Force Awakens to the Last Jedi, or whatever the fucking second film was. And it wasn't, but it was. Like, with this, it's like we already have all the story, but let's focus on these guys. Give us story with them.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Yeah, so Pika Fan is saying episode 4 was boring except for the race, felt very George Lucas. Yeah, well.
Yeah.
It was
well, I mean,
1.
that's all these fucking shows are. It's been like, oh, let's rip off other Lucasfilm properties, and, you know, that'll give us some cred.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty much the majority of my notes for the last 4 episodes was like, oh, I really liked that when I saw that in this movie.
Seriously, like
Yeah,
episode 5, Entombed, Pika fans saying Indiana Jones references.
yeah, straight up.
They found the compass. It led them to some archaeological site. They went in, ended up being a big robot, and they have to stop the robot that they turned on, and that's the episode. No harm, no foul. No one gets hurt. Everyone goes home happy. What the fuck was the point?
Yeah, like there was literally no reason for it. That is the epitome of a filler episode where they end at the same point they started, but now they're going on another wacky adventure with Wanda Sykes.
The thing is, like, one of the aspects I really loved about the original Clone Wars series was that it had these sort of morals. And you could say they're super cheesy, and some of them really, really were,
Yeah,
but they always had some sort of message to say to the
Mhm.
audience. I mean, it harkened back to Saturday morning cartoons where it didn't
Absolutely.
matter what the cartoon was. You tuned in, and there almost every single episode was some sort of moral, mention or note or safety issue at the end of it. And so it kind of gave me those sort of nostalgic vibes. This has none of that. There's nothing to sort of discern it as far as deeper meaning. It's just wacky adventure after wacky adventure, and the adventures aren't even exciting, is the worst
Yeah.
part. Like, it'd be one thing if they were good adventures.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, like particularly with that one episode with the robot. Like, oh no, we gotta travel this scary ass tunnel that Omega has to figure out how to use. But yet the other guys that got stuck just walked
Right
along
around
the
it.
tunnel to the very end. Like
Right
there's
around
no consequences. There's no anything. Like just go the easy route. That's all you
Yeah.
gotta do. That's what they're doing.
So dumb.
Yeah, fucking stupid.
And like the only good part about that, if there could even be a good part, was that they alluded to some more ancient culture that built this machine.
Yeah, but we're not gonna get a payoff.
They didn't explain it. They didn't say who it was. There was no real payoff at all. It was just like, okay, well, yeah, there's history in a galaxy.
Mhm. Yeah, right.
Surprise.
Oh, this is thousands of years before the Republic. Well, no shit, fucker. Obviously. It's like it's just throw out all the Lord of the Rings references, but make it really bad. That's all I kept thinking about with that episode.
That's funny.
It was just Lord of the Rings because they're going for the heart of the mountain.
Yeah.
And Indiana Jones, like, let's mash those two together and throw it in the shit blender that is the Bad Batch, and that's what we got.
What blows my mind is that like people are really loving this stuff, and I
It's-
just don't get it. Are they
it's
just
honest-
tuned out?
It's the same people that like Marvel movies. I honestly think that's what it is. There's bright colors, there's sounds, and they can just go the whole way through.
Yeah.
Like I really feel like it's just turning off your brain food. Like
Mhm.
that's all it is.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really aggravating 'cause
travesty.
there's
It-
no meat to anything, and like I'll sit through stupid episodes if there's something on the other side of it. If you give me a reason to care. And the thing is there are Star Wars properties that I love that are fucking amazing. And we just finished talking about one, Andor, when it was out. And then Mandalorian before that.
Mhm.
But why do they have to be so bad at telling simple stories?
Right.
It seems like it would be like the easiest thing you could ever possibly do. And and I hate those people that are like, well, you're not the demographic. No,
Yeah,
storytelling is good or bad. It doesn't matter what age you are.
Yeah.
You either appreciate it or you like the pretty colors, but that's not appreciating the story. And so you can't tell me that Star Wars is not a storytelling mechanism. Like Star Wars is the ultimate storytelling mechanism. It's the hero's fucking journey from the
Yeah.
beginning of it. So it's ripe with human storytelling mythology. If you're not going to pay that off, then it's not really Star Wars. It's just Muppets in space, which
would
I
be
would watch more than
vastly
this.
Cooler. Yeah.
It would be infinitely better.
Like it's sad to say that I can still say that I appreciate aspects of Resistance more than this,
Yeah.
and that's a
That's
shame.
fucked.
You bring up the Muppets thing, and that's all I think about now is like, well, everything's bad, but at least there was that.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten an episode like that, and we're halfway through the fucking season.
Yeah.
That's like, at least give me a stupid episode like that I can just giggle about later.
I do
No.
like the Pika fan comment about Crosshair only being in one
Yeah,
episode.
it's
He was
stupid.
like the big bad, the
Yeah.
whole purpose of the story in the first season. And now he's just like, I don't know what, eating in mess halls? Like that's his life.
Yeah, now we're gonna deal with or like see little snippets of him having a hard time acclimating, but not even following through. Like,
Yeah.
cool. Let's see that. Let's see his character deteriorate from the morals that he was having. You know, the end of season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see him break down and join the Bad Batch again, because what he thought he was sticking with isn't that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's interesting. That would be cool.
I would even love them to go down like a super adult route, and like his whole like motto is good soldiers follow orders. I am a soldier. I was born and bred for this. I don't care who is giving me the orders. I don't care what the orders are. My role is to execute those orders.
Mm-hmm.
And in the face of a system that created you saying, we don't want you anymore. You are worth less than anything to us anymore. We're not going to support you. We're not even going to give you pensions. We don't give a fuck about you. Move along. How does that affect the psyche of a soldier? You know, someone who was born into it. I want to see him degenerate mentally to a point where he's like ready to bite a bullet. And maybe that's how he goes out. Like, I want him to sink to the lowest depths of despair, because they've set us up for a whole season and now a season and a half of being that one thing. And now he can't be that one thing anymore. So he has no identity anymore. What does that do to you?
Well, and then, like, the whole thing that got me to bite on this was, oh, this season's supposed to be darker than the first one.
That's what I was told.
Where?
Yeah.
Like, half of 2 episodes? No.
I have heard it's supposed to get dark, but I don't know if that's at the end of the season. I don't know what, but like, why would we have to wait for the good stuff?
Right? It shouldn't be
Just
like the
bring it
last season where there's 3 good episodes and it's at the very end.
Yeah.
Like, we have already established that this is a Clone Wars series. Let's get to the good shit. We're in season 2, because that's ultimately how everything goes. First season of the Clone Wars, not good. First season of Rebels, not very good. There's aspects that are okay, but ultimately, I don't think it's that good.
Yeah, it picked
Cool.
up
We
after.
already got the bad season of the Bad Batch. Now give us the good Bad Batch. Like, is that too much to fucking ask?
Well, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so.
Obviously. So episode 6 was Tribe, and this is one that I did not see coming. A Wookiee Jedi.
Yeah,
I thought the
didn't give a shit.
concept was interesting when they went and like how it all played out, where it was like this Trandoshan slave runner that was sort of collecting up Wookiees, and then it was the Empire sort of trying to, I don't know, like eliminate everyone. Like, I didn't really understand what their role was being there with the Trandoshan slavers.
Yep,
They just happened to also be there for some reason.
pretty much.
And they're
I
like,
think
burn
that's
down
what
the
it was.
forest, and then there's like 6 Wookiees left or something in that village, which was weird. Like a full village of Wookiees, there's only 6, and that they're going to stay and fight. Seems really strange. But again, it was like all you needed was one superhero and eliminate the entire group. So then what was the real threat? And that's all we got. We got one superhero. It was a Jedi Wookiee who, you know, it's kind of cool. But he was a kid. He was a youngling still.
Yeah.
And so it's not like he was super talented or anything. And then any threat that came by environmentally, like the spider thing, pod things, it was just like, hey, put your weapons away. They'll know you're not harmful and they'll move along. Like, what? That's not how wild animals work.
Not at all. Like, I have been killed countless fucking times by the goddamn creatures that live at the floor of Kashyyyk. No, that's not how it works. They fuck you in the ass and then spit on your face afterwards. Like, it's rough.
Yeah. I mean, in every game, you know, you go there, whether it's Force Awakens or Jedi Fallen Order, like you go to Kashyyyk and it's vicious.
Yeah.
And it's not because you're holding a weapon. It's because every animal is trying to survive.
Yeah,
And that's it.
Exactly. Like, that's why Wookiees are such Billy badasses, because it is a rough fucking planet. That's why they live in the tops of trees, because it's a tough fucking planet. And it's just, yeah, that whole episode, if you don't think about it, it's okay. I mean, really, the only thing I pulled from it that I liked was his lightsaber was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Like that was
I like
awesome.
lightsabers. Yeah, what was strange to me was the tree hugging. Like, listen to the
Yeah,
trees.
that is 100% new. Like that, okay. So, admittedly, I don't know everything about Star Wars. I know gasp, shock, and awe. But every single thing of Legends, EU, all that shit that I've come across, there's never been anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there's a reverence for the planet and the trees that they inhabit, but it's not like they talk to them like a bunch of fucking hippies.
It's like they were trying to take it like an Avatar route. Like, they saw Avatar, they're like, oh, let's make the Wookiees like that.
I mean,
Like,
maybe.
what?
And then fucking Omega starts doing it. Like, oh, I clearly can talk to trees too because I'm hanging out with some Wookiees. It's like, fuck you, Omega. Fucking typical ass white girl fucking appropriating other cultures, mystic beliefs and shit. Next thing you know, they're going to go to another planet. She's going to become a Reiki master or some shit.
For sure. And then the last 2 episodes dropped. And I was like, well, why would they drop 2 episodes at once? That doesn't make sense. And then I figured out that they were connected, of course. And number 7, The Clone Conspiracy, I thought was a good episode.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That's what this season should have been.
Yeah. I love the idea of clones trying to hide, or, you know, the sort of the hierarchy trying to hide the travesty of, it's even in the notes here. Where is it? What's the name of that planet? Camino.
Yeah.
The travesty of Camino. And then ultimately there's also senators trying to look after clones, which seems like a logical thing to do, in my personal opinion. And so I thought 7 was a great approach. It reminded me sort of like after Desert Storm and Desert Shield, like the government learned from Vietnam, we should probably take care of our soldiers that were sent over there. Mm-hmm. And the people of America were like, yeah, we should probably care about the veterans again. So, there was more of a concern element there. And I loved that approach. I love that there's a lone senator that was really trying to do what was right. And then, of course, trying to expose that secret, and then that secret trying to be snuffed out, and people were being sniped and murdered. I thought it was going to be Crosshair. Would have made sense it was Crosshair killing everyone. Yeah. Why it wasn't?
Yeah. Some random clone that kills himself. Like, yeah. Why? It's like you already have Nazi the bad guy that could do that. He's already a sniper. Mm-hmm. It makes sense. Like, why not use the bad guy you already created?
And it would force him to look in the face of what his masters are really telling him to do.
Yeah.
It's no longer follow orders. It's kill your brothers. That's a heavy thing to deal with. But instead, they just throw in some other rando who just doesn't care and kills himself, and no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity, in my opinion. Absolutely. But I did enjoy the episode. I really did.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was like something that I feel like we would have got in the latter seasons of the Clone Wars.
When they showed that Senator chamber, and then it showed the Emperor's like little pod in the center, mm-hmm. That first episode 7, I was like, oh, don't show the Emperor. Please don't show the Emperor. I don't think we need the Emperor in this. And then it like spun around, and it didn't. It was just his, I don't know what that guy's name is, his helper guy. I don't know, his bootlegger. I was like, okay, that makes sense. You have a stand-in for the Emperor. He's clearly going off and doing Sith stuff, chasing rebels around the galaxy, trying to get to the world between worlds. He doesn't have time to fuck around with senatorial jurisdiction when he's just going to dissolve the Senate in a few years anyway. Mm-hmm. So you don't need him. And then the second episode, Truth and Consequences, episode 8, the sequel to that, episode 7, they did bring him in. I was like, why the fuck did you do that? Like, there's no need for it. Like, I get the twist that they made. No matter which way you go, the Emperor gets his wish, mm-hmm. which is just like the Clone Wars were. Whether the Separatists or the Republic wins, the Emperor still wins. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I get he's playing both ends against the middle, but you don't have to show him to do that. And for me, seeing a character as meaningful and powerful as the Emperor in a show that is not doing justice to the IP kind of brings him down a notch. Like, just by being there. I don't know. Is that, did you?
Like, I liked it, but it was also, so I watched the last 4 episodes back to back to back, because they were all out, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna rip this Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
So I think by that point I had already like checked out mentally, so it's just like, oh, cool, this is an awesome character, I'm glad he's here. But yeah, of course, on further consideration, it's like, why bring him in? You don't need him. You obviously have his voice there. We already know where this is going to go. So it's not like some big shock that the Emperor's like, oh, fuck these turds. Like, it was unnecessary. I think it was just to sort of like shock us all, like, oh man, shit's getting serious. It's like, well, we kind of already saw the other movies. So obviously it's going to be kind of serious.
Yeah. I did like how they finally get the information from the shipyard, and they bring it over to the Senate chamber, and just as sort of the 0 hour, they show the proof, and it shows the sort of hollow video footage. And then Rampart, of course, is taken into custody by the Emperor's orders and sent to be punished. I was just like, that is the only thing in this entire series thus far that rings true. It doesn't matter what side you're on. You're not protected. You follow orders, you're still going to get fucked. You don't follow orders, you're getting fucked. Like, yeah, that's the Empire. Yes, 100%. Yes. Darth Vader just willy-nilly choked people out because he had a bad breakfast. Like, that's just life in the Empire. So I did like that a lot. I was like, oh, okay, well, at least they maintained that, sort of ruthlessness aspect of it. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But, like, where are they going to go? You got 8 more episodes. How many filler episodes are we going to have to suffer through to find out if it actually does get dark?
Oh, it's going to be 6. Yeah, probably 5 or 6, I would guess.
Torture.
Like, it's going to be fucking Popcorn Bill Part 2. I have a feeling.
Jeez. All right, well, I'm not.
Because we'll definitely get Sid back. We're going to find out how she gets out of that wacky scheme that she's dealing with right now with the other crime bosses. And that's going to be boring as shit. And yeah, we'll have that'll probably be a 2-parter. We'll get a 2-parter of just Sid.
Yeah. And
that'll just be obnoxious as hell. And then we'll probably get a filler in between the two and then have something decent at the end.
Yeah. I kind of miss the days when there were no Jedi at this period. Like none, period. Everyone was gone. It was just a vacuum. The more storytelling that's told, the more Jedi that pop up. And it's like, can it really be a vacuum of Jedi when there's all these goddamn Jedi running around? Like,
yeah, it's
really.
Yeah, it makes the fact that Obi-Wan survived Obi-Wan and Yoda, like, that less interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, congratulations, you're 2 of now 100. Zippity doo-dah.
Right. Like, well, and it's stupid too, because like, I understand there's going to be certain Jedi that are out on assignment, like in the Outer Rim and shit. Like maybe there's not a clone presence around them. So I understand that there's going to be some that don't get taken out immediately because of Order 66. That makes sense. That's logical. But like constantly getting new ones appearing, it's like that was 30 fucking years ago that we watched all of them die almost. Like, let's move on.
Yeah, especially when Darth Vader was tasked with hunting and killing them. And then they invented the Inquisitorius to also hunt and kill them. And yet there's still more popping up.
Jedis.
Yeah. It just becomes frustrating. Like at some point, in the mythology, the new canon is getting so it's like contradicting itself every 2 seconds. No longer is there like a full continuity. It's just like, well, this is the comics continuity, this is the novel continuity, this is the film and series continuity. It used to be one connected thing. It was easy.
There was like 12 people pretty much that took care of all the storytelling through all aspects of media. But that was too difficult to hold on to, I guess.
Yeah. An institution like, with endless funds like Disney can't deal with something that simple. They just shit the bed on every turn. It's driving me insane. But yeah, that is the end of it. Like, still, the clones don't have any support. Rampart went to jail for bombarding and destroying and covering up Kamino's destruction, but there's no resolution to it. The people are still dead. Their representative straight up said they don't give a fuck about him.
Yep.
So Okay, so we just genocided one whole people. Great. Let's move on to the next wacky episode.
Let's go to another space race.
So ridiculous, man. Okay, so then what did you have any favorite parts of these first 8 episodes thus far?
Not really. None of it was good. It just all kind of, I either hated it a lot or I didn't hate it that much. I would not go so far as to say that there was something that I was like, yeah, I loved that.
Right. Yeah, mine was just what I read into it, and I love looking at the clones and seeing how they're processing where they are now after the war. I like that aspect of it. What was your least favorite of these total 8 episodes?
Hitting play every fucking time.
God
It was a
damn.
chore. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, mine was every episode.
Yeah.
So
we're not that far off from
Yeah.
shared experience. Yeah.
The thing is, like, we want to do these reviews and we want to really love this stuff, but if it just doesn't live up to it, we have to be honest. We're not going to
Yeah.
placate a stupid show who doesn't even care about our opinion anyway. So we might as well just be honest about how it makes us feel. And if you watching this as a viewer, if that bothers you, I understand.
Yeah,
But
totally.
this is where we should process what the hell is going on with the IP. Like, it's just being ignored. It seems like they're pumping out content, but it's not good.
No.
And so I'm a little bit afraid about Ahsoka, if I'm being 100% honest, because Boba Fett and Obi-Wan weren't that great. You know, really. I mean, they had moments.
I liked Obi-Wan. Boba Fett.
So there was moments that I enjoyed, and it was better than Boba Fett for me. But overall, I don't think it really added anything that is memorable to me.
No.
And that's upsetting. You know, like as a Star Wars fan, I want something to stand out and be like, yes, that was the greatest thing. And nothing's really done that. And so the only thing I'm looking forward to at this point is Mandalorian, season 3.
Which, hey, not that far off.
Yeah. Oh, I hope it's good. I hope
It's
it's
like not even a month, man. We are just a couple weeks away.
Is it really that soon?
March 1st, man.
Holy
March
shit.
1st. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're just gonna drop the whole Bad Batch second season, half the season. If we're gonna be
I'm
talking
okay
about
with that.
that. Unless
Here's
it's
the
like,
thing. I so desperately want to enjoy this.
yeah,
Because why the fuck wouldn't I? Like, I'm not one of those people that likes to hate watch shit. I have such a minute amount of spare time that I can devote to reading and watching movies, watching TV, that when I do have that time, it's precious to me.
yeah.
Like something that we're going to be talking about later. It's the greatest thing that's happened to me in a long time. Like, it's fantastic. This is just, it's a fucking chore. I would rather be outside cleaning up dog shit in the middle of a snowstorm and to watch this.
Yeah. Well, I watch it when I run in the morning, and so I don't really set aside time or anything. So I'll let you know if it gets any better or not.
I mean, I was still gonna watch it because the thing is, I started the season. I have to see how it ends. Like, just purely out of morbid curiosity, I have to finish it.
What if you could write the last 8 episodes and just give me a story arc? What would you like to see?
It would literally just be following 3 things. 1, the Senator's plight to get, appropriate, like, treatment of the clones, like to make them a recognized sentient body and be treated right. Like that, 2 or 3 episodes of that would be fantastic. Crosshairs, figuring out what the fuck he's doing and either offing someone in the Bad Batch, because I think we need to see someone die.
Yeah.
Not just out of like pure spite, because I think they should all die, but because we need consequences. I mean, yes, fucking what the hell is his name? The one clone that has the R2D2 arm.
Right, I know you're talking about.
Like, he left, so that's kind of a consequence, but not really. He's gonna go fuck off with
Echo.
Cody, whatever.
Yeah.
Echo, there we go. But that's not a big deal because he can come back at any time. Like, we need somebody to not exist, whether it's one of them or Crosshairs. Like, somebody has to die. And then 3 ultimately. Like I would really like to see Sid die, so that would be an excellent episode. We're that everybody. But essentially just those. Like we need to see how everything comes together in the end, and how like what's gonna be or what's gonna happen with that senator, whether she's actually going to get the clones taken care of, which presumably that's probably not going to happen.
I can't imagine it. It's never been referenced before, so
yeah, exactly. But again, as you were saying earlier, they've changed canon.
Yeah,
like there's no continuity in anything. They just kind of fly by the seat of their pants. But that would be the nice thing, is see where she goes, where Crosshair goes, and then how the 3 of those, with obviously the Bad Batch, how that meets up in the end and where that's going to end.
Yeah.
I feel like we're not going to really get an interesting version of that, though.
I really don't think we will either. I think they're probably going to bring in Ahsoka and then try to connect Rex with going to that like weird planet where they found him with that big weird walker machine with a bunch of other clones that helped him in Rebels. So I think that's where we're going to end up. But I'm infinitely more interested in finding out about the Crosshair and Bad Batch team dynamic and resolving that. Because we started there, I want it to end there. I can't imagine them doing a 3rd season of this. So
it'll probably happen.
Really?
I'm sure they'll get like 3 or 4 seasons out of this.
Really?
Oh yeah,
I'm not going to sit around for 3 or 4
they'll
seasons.
fucking try to bleed that stone dry.
Fuck. Well, I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Anyway, that's the only thing I'm hoping for. Other than that, they can just tell stupid stories to the fucking wind. I don't care. Is there anything else
I don't think that I'll be continuing this show after this season.
Yeah.
Like unless they actually end in a profound way, because yes, season 1 ended great, kind of. Like if you compare it to
remember,
that's the problem. Like all the cool shit that happened was in the last like 2 episodes ultimately, and it had to do with outlying characters that really didn't progress the story. Like we had Cad Bane and we had the fucking person I don't even remember because she's pointless anyways.
Yeah, she's from Boba Fett.
Like it was just cool to see Cad Bane, I guess. Like that's ultimately that was the exciting part for me. Everything else was just like that was a show. And I have a feeling that's how this season's going to end as well. It's just sort of like, yep, that happened. Gold star, everybody.
Well, I don't have anything to cover with this. Is there anything you want to say?
No.
Right,
no,
well,
I'm pretty sure we got everything.
Thank you all so much for tuning in live or after the fact. We appreciate your time and attention. We do invite you to subscribe to this channel and click the bell to get notified about our upcoming videos. You can always pick... Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I'm reading the notes and it didn't sound familiar because it's been so long since we've done this. You can always pick up some of our custom designed Star Wars apparel by following the link in the description below. And until the Infernal Brotherhood convenes again, my fellow scruffy looking Nerf Herders, may the Force be with you.
Loosen up, bandana.